All right, welcome everybody back to the Uncharted Podcast Network right here on YouTube. It is time. The countdown is over. Turn it on, lock it in, get ready for liftoff because this is Uncharted territory with me, John Spiegel. It is great to see you guys and to be back here. And real quick, I just want to apologize for missing last week. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm on day 22 straight of work, so it has been an adventure. I'm a plant vendor for the western metro area of Denver, and my company distributes plants to Walmarts and Home Depots, and right now they're in peak season, so I have been getting my ass kicked, and so that's why I missed last week. It's not really a make or break excuse, but that's just why it didn't happen. So here we are, day 22 in a row. We are turned up and we are ready to get into it. As always, please go like, follow, share, and subscribe to all of the socials real quick. I'll put the little bubble thing down here real quick, but there will be a slide at the end of the video that has all of our socials on it. I'm actually going to rework all of those socials. That picture just bugs me a lot. I thought it was really cool at the time, and now when I do the little pop-up, I just know that it looks ridiculous. So I will be working on getting a new socials pop-up over the next couple of days. But again, like, follow, share, and subscribe to all of the socials: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, all of those. And then please subscribe to this channel here. Hit that bell button for the notifications, so that way you can lock in every single time that we are going on here and doing the show, because every episode is the main event. And with that being said, let's get into the main event, shall we? Today I went sticky note. Bullet points. We'll start with WWE as we normally do. Raw. I didn't actually watch Raw as a live last night. Again, been tired, been not as connected. So I watched the Raw Top 10 on YouTube. So that's how I got all of my Raw information for this week. And let me tell you, is the Judgment Day washed? I think so. I'm not half as excited about the Judgment Day as I once was. Okay, and honestly, it really. The original Judgment Day with Edge and Priest and Rhea was amazing. That was probably the peak form. I liked bringing in Finn as the pseudo leader of the Judgment Day. He was always going to compete for it with Priest at the time, but I liked that vibe. Everything since then to me has just been repeat after repeat after repeat. It's Billy Ray Cyrus with Achy Breaky Heart every single week on Monday Night Raw. I'm not a fan of it, and obviously their tag team, the women's tag team title thing, it all got squashed, and so many interferences, and Liv gets tossed, and then Raquel tries to hit Brie with a belt. That doesn't pay out, into the worst roll up of all time and a win, just for them to end up jumping the team at the end anyway. Yeah, just boring to me. At this point, it's oddly predictable, as is most of Raw, but I'm not a big fan of how that looked. Speaking of the Judgment Day, though, or formerly of the Judgment Day, is Finn Balor now in peak form? And I think that the answer is yes. I think you could argue that this is the best main roster version of Finn Balor that we've seen. He's back to fan favorite mode, which is kind of him doing the greatest hits. It's, again, kind of achy breaky heart every week, but it's a way more enjoyable character than his Judgment Day was. And it was a different heel in the Judgment Day than it was in NXT as the Prince. And I will always stand by that the Prince should have been a copy and paste to the main roster. The second they brought him up, they turned him back into the character that got him sent back down. So that doesn't make any sense to me. The Prince was a awesome heel. He was dropping, awesome promos every week, and then he was just an absolute killer in the ring. I think that was peak Finn Balor altogether. But right now, I think we're at peak Balor, and if we don't get a shot at a title run or something in this span of time, we just never will with Finn. Finn is incredible, and I feel like that'll be a bust if we end up going through this entire rebrand of him again, just to bring him back to being a babyface, just to do nothing with him. So hopefully that's not the case. I'm a big Balor guy, and hopefully he gets what he has earned in his time with that company, because he is a phenomenal talent in my opinion. Sol Ruka is Sol Ruka it? Does Sol Ruka have it? And I almost think that the answer is yes. She's obviously right into a program with Becky. Whether or not the title is on the line at Saturday night's main event, I think is completely irrelevant. I think they're gonna have a barn burner match, and Sol is absolutely polarizing. She's a great talent. The Soul Snatcher can be crazy at times, right? Where like sometimes it looks really good, and other times she either misses the rope or it just looks a little wonky. But altogether, she's super athletic. She's got great mic skills. She's gorgeous, and I think that that's going to be an absolute awesome commodity to have on the show. Is going to be Sol Ruka. I look forward to seeing what Sol does in the future, and I think she has it. I think you can almost not deny that she has it. She's amazing. Um, we'll finish wrestling off with Brock Lesnar. I have opinions, right? Okay, I was never a big Brock guy anyway. I've never been a big Brock guy. I wasn't a Brock guy in '03. I'm not a Brock guy now. I generally just don't care about Brock. Um, I think that he is the epitome of the five moves of doom. He really doesn't have any arsenal and no skill when it comes to professional wrestling. There's no denying he's one of the greatest combat sport athletes of all time. A multi-time UFC World Heavyweight Champion, a multi-time WWE World Champion, and stuff like that. But like his in-ring since 2010 in WWE has just been the same. It's been suplexes and F5s. His matches are generally under 10 minutes, under 5 minutes for the most part. So I've just never been a guy who was captivated by Brock Lesnar. You couple that in with the allegations in the Janelle Grant suit against Vince McMahon, and to me, there's a big shady area that he just shouldn't be present right now at all. Nothing has said that he's gotten relinquished of any responsibilities in the Janelle Grant suit. Nothing has said that he isn't liable in the Janelle Grant suit. Nothing says that he didn't do what he was accused of doing, and we all know what that was in the Janelle Grant suit. So I am avidly against Brock being in WWE right now and in the last year, and don't think that he has any place there until they can settle up and prove whether or not he did the things that Janelle Grant accused him of doing. Again, all of those uh, accusations is all alleged. It's all, none of it is proven, and that's still to me why he doesn't belong. Where he is right now or where he's been. Um, I think it's ridiculous to have somebody accused of such heinous acts, being on live television and being idols for our children. You know, kids look at those guys like they're superheroes, and if you're a wrestling fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you did it. You saw those guys as larger than life. You mocked them in the mirror. You did the Shawn Michaels pose. You did the DX crotch chops. You did all the stuff, right? Brock is no different, and Brock should be held to the same standard. And if you can't prove right now that Brock has nothing to do with the Janelle Grant suit, he shouldn't be actively in the ring. Now, that's my overall on Brock Lesnar. I'm not happy that he's back as of yesterday on Raw either. I think that is the weirdest and lamest swerve of all time. To like, oh, Brock, you go out there and you lose as quickly as humanly possible. And then you stand in the ring and you cry. And, the fans are going to feel for you and they're going to vibe it. And then 4 weeks later, we're just going to throw it all away and you're going to come back and you're going to dominate Obafemi with 4 F5s on a Monday Night Raw. I just don't get it. I don't vibe it. I think it's the weirdest swerve of all time. Like, Whoopi, the guy with 3 moves, is back. They're going to do a trilogy of matches now where all of them are going to be under 5 minutes long. And it's just going to be boring. It's just not anything. And I'll never trust that he's going to retire again, right? Like, this is like Mark Henry. You do the whole I'm going to retire thing and then you put him right back in the Hall of Pain. This is the same thing, right? This is I retired. My contract is up at Minneapolis or at the Minneapolis event for SummerSlam. That's going to be it. Oh, but maybe we'll pull the trigger early at Mania. Like, honestly, everybody should have seen the swerve coming because he had already said that his contract expired at SummerSlam. So, like, and he won't re-sign again. I think this is the end of Brock regardless. But I just don't like the swerve. I think the swerve is ridiculous. And I'm not a fan of Brock Lesnar, as you can tell. So, to me, that's just a complete bust, and the Brock story is boring. To be honest, the Obafemi story is going to get boring eventually. It's cool right now. Everybody likes the strut thing, right? They're all with it, but him doing squash matches every week against talent as part of the Obafemi Open Challenge, which like everybody can just have an open challenge now. The United States title open challenge, the Obafemi open challenge, like John Cena doing the NXT tournament open challenge. That like just like geez, for the love of God, just not everybody needs an open challenge. He doesn't have a title. He's just a giant guy. Braun Strowman, The Big Show, The Undertaker, Kane. None of these guys were doing the Mark Calloway Open Challenge. Okay, it didn't happen. The Kane Open Challenge, it didn't happen. The Big Show Open Challenge didn't happen. I like it just shows that they have no confidence currently in the roster that they have because they can't fill it with anything but either rando open challenge or talking segment. And again, the show has been notoriously bad when it comes to talking segment on top of talking segment on top of talking segment. So I don't vibe it. Raw lately has been really tough to watch. I didn't watch Backlash. I still haven't watched Backlash. I watched the Danhausen segment of Backlash via YouTube, which was the best part of the show, and I don't even know what the rest of the show was, and don't care. Danhausen's going to be the best part of that show, kind of regardless, as I feel the physical content has just stalemated out. They don't have it right now, and I don't know what they need to do to fix it. But having a 2 or 3 hour show, having 4 matches, having all talking segments, and then having a million commercials isn't it. It isn't what it should be. So it's tough to get behind that product right now, and I look forward to going to see TNA in June, seeing kind of what the inside of that looks like. Because going and seeing AEW in February gave me a whole different respect for AEW's program and their talent and how they structure their shows. Um, I hope that TNA does the same thing. We saw WWE in November for SmackDown at Ball Arena, and that was just you could again. It's just it's oversaturated with ads, with commercial breaks, with talking segments. It's just not fun, and it's expensive. For it being as expensive as it is, you'd want to get some wrestling in, but one show or one match for the main event show, and then 4 main card matches isn't really it. So that's gonna be my opinions on wrestling for this week. My WWE opinions. Um, Generally, you'll be able to catch me on Facebook before Monday Night Raws. Generally, me and my brother do a little talk on some of the pages that we're on Facebook. So generally, you can catch us there. It's been a weird couple weeks between work and my brother was on the Roosevelt's cruise. Again, as always, run on over to roosevelts.com, RSVLTS, no vowels.com. Go check them out if you're into nerdy shirts, nerdy fandoms. They have, shirts, they have shorts, they have hats, they have all sorts of stuff. All licensed memorabilia for the most part, on top of having their own exclusives and their own originals. They have some pretty cool stuff. So if you are not checking out Roosevelt's, you should. You should go check it out. They just did a Doctor Doom release. They did Masters of the Universe. They did some Star Wars stuff for May 4th. Go check all that stuff out now. It is an amazing brand and an amazing community to be a part of. So go and check out Roosevelt's, RSVLTS.com. right now. You can also find them in your app store. Go check that stuff out. And honestly, maybe one of these days we'll have to hook up the camera and head to my older brother's house and just deep dive the Roosevelt's brand and the shirts, because I think he just crossed over 400 Roosevelt's shirts. It's a brand that he trusts and he loves. He was just on the Roosevelt's cruise and it looked like an absolute great time. Jealous as hell. Having to be here dealing with weird weather and people in their plants has not been half as fun as I imagine a Roosevelt's cruise being. So we'll have to maybe see if that's something on deck. I'll put that into the ether and see if we can make something like that happen. But I think it would be an awesome experience. And my brother is essentially a pseudo celebrity around the community, so. I say pseudo. He's famous. He just doesn't quite own it yet. And I know you're going to watch the episode, Big Brother, so you're famous. It is what it is. All right. On to the next thing. That'll be Starship Flight 12. The date has kind of tentatively kept moving. It was today, it was tomorrow, and now we are at no earlier than May 21st, 5:30 p.m. Central for the flight of Booster 19 and Ship 39. This is the first V3 hardware, version 3 hardware, to be launched. It does not sound like either vehicle will be salvaged. It sounds like both are going to be essentially just dropped into the ocean. It's not uncommon for that to happen, and especially early in the tests. This is the first test of this specific version of the Starship, so they're not going to want to try to bring it back to the pad and destroy a brand new pad. This will be the first launch off of Pad 2 down at Starbase in Boca Chica, Texas. I think it's going to go fairly good. It looks like all the tests for the most part have gone all right. They had a few scrubs when it came to some some tanking early in the test campaign. But since then, they've had multiple good static fires of Ship and Booster, all 33 engines on Ship. Some of those have been absolutely gorgeous to watch, too. And again, kind of apparently just a big vocal advertiser, but go ahead and check out NASA Spaceflight here on YouTube. They have amazing coverage of all the Starship stuff and anything spaceflight related, to be completely honest. They have very good live streams where they kind of take you all the way through to launch. They answer questions from regular people just commenting on Facebook. They also have a Patreon and they have a membership program. I'm a part of their membership program because they are just phenomenal. They're very educating and they're very fun to listen to. So if you give a crap about space flight in any capacity, which you should, people just wanting to kind of be in this bubble kind of blow my mind, right? This bubble has been a madhouse for the last handful of years, and especially if you're here in the States, dear God. But no, I mean, you should want to explore the cosmos and see what else is out there, and that'll kind of tie into next week's episode, which I will give you a preview of right before we jump off. But so that's going to be it for Starship. Again, Starship no earlier than May 21st at 5:30 p.m. Central for their launch. That window is generally a 60-minute window, but it'll depend on what the FAA gives them at the time of launch. So, I'm going to start kind of doing this to kind of close out the show. Last week I kind of gave a brief little mental health check, if you will, to the audience, to the fan base, and on the Uncharted Podcast Network socials, I've been posting affirmations. I want to get into doing it every day, but I've been doing it probably once a week at this point. Today I posted an affirmation before I started my 22nd straight day of work today. It was raining. There was a lot going on. Lots of plant racks out and about, so I had to kind of try to put myself in the right headspace. And the affirmation that I posted today was, I honor my emotions knowing they are all a part of the healing. And, the thing that I have to say about that is when you're on these journeys, and I think we're all on one in some capacity, right? Nobody has it all completely dialed in. We all have our up days. We all have our down days. And it's always going to be that way. And even somebody who's living great has their ups and their downs. But especially if you're kind of like me, and you're still on this journey of trying to figure out who you are and where you belong and which piece of the pie you really are and where you want to be and how you're going to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. The biggest thing that I like to kind of put out there into the ether is to not ignore the emotions that come with the journey, right? Like as you're digging through the dirt of what you're dealing with and where your life is at, and you're trying to build the foundation of what you want to be for the rest of your life or where you want to be going forward. It's important to know that you're going to find and hear things about yourself and from other people, from yourself. You're gonna find things that you don't necessarily love. They're gonna be there. They're gonna be tough emotions to deal with. But the most important thing to realize is that all of those emotions are pieces to the overall puzzle of things that will create the future you and the you that you're proud of, and hopefully your family is proud of, your kids are proud of, your parents are proud of, all that stuff, right? It's all pieces that all attach together at some point or another as you go along through the journey, and then at the end of the day you get a finished product. And hopefully at the end of the day is the last day, right? Like you want the full puzzle to completely come together at the end of the journey. Nobody's out there right now at 35 years old with a completed puzzle. Okay, nobody's doing that. There are people who like to pretend that they are, but then something is going to happen. Something's going to come out of nowhere. Life is going to catch up to you, and the puzzle then kind of pieces will fall away again. And you have to find them. You got to sort back through them. I'm not even good at puzzles in real life, so this metaphor is really weighted. But it's important to not disregard how you feel and how it's okay to struggle and it's okay to feel rough about where you're at and what you're doing. The biggest thing is to keep your head up and to know that the pieces of the puzzle are on the table and that you have the absolute ability to find the correct pieces that fit the correct picture. And at the end of the day, that picture is going to be you, and it's going to be awesome. So don't let those emotions, those negative pieces of this pie, of this puzzle, get you down. You got to sort through them. You got to be patient. And at the end of the day, eventually, this is all going to come together, and it's going to be a beautiful puzzle. So that is my kind words of wisdom for the day coming out of me. Somebody who's kind of a lifer at trying to figure out where I belong and what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's tough. It's always going to be tough, but I know that at the end of the day, when it all comes together, it's going to feel really, really cool. So I'm good with it, and I hope that you guys are all good as well. When it comes to next week on Wednesday, I don't even know what day Wednesday is at this point, the 27th, we're going to have an episode dropping at 10 a.m. as normal, and that episode is going to be about aliens. We're going to talk a little bit about extraterrestrial life. I'm sure I'll have some of the normal stuff, a little bit of the wrestling talking points or whatever. I'll try to throw in an affirmation at the end, but the main topic of next week is going to be aliens. What do you do if an alien, appears in front of you? What does an alien do if it appears in front of you and it sees you? Do we think that aliens are more intelligent than us? Do we think that they're less intelligent than us? Stuff like that. I'll kind of run through and give, my talking points and my bullet points on aliens. And it all comes kind of on the back of, I just finished reading the book, Take Me to Your Leader by Neil deGrasse Tyson. It is a phenomenal read. It is a fast read. And via audiobook, I finished it in about 5 hours. It was a great deep dive and a great read, and it will spark the question, and I posted this question on all of my social medias. Okay, so I want you guys to go to Facebook, right here on YouTube, comment the answer to this question, and I'm going to sort through the answers to those questions, or to the question, and I will read those out loud, or some of them out loud, next week during the episode, and we will chat about some of these answers to the question. And my question is essentially a question that even Neil poses in his book. And it is, if an alien were to appear in front of you and it said, "Take me to your leader," who do you take the alien to? Are you taking it to the White House? Are you taking it to Travis Kelce for some reason? Are you taking it to George Strait? Are you taking it to Neil deGrasse Tyson? Are you taking it to a scientist, a politician, a movie star, an actor, a musician? Who is it that you're taking that alien to? Who is the leader that you're going to take the alien to? Again, comment your answer either here or on any of the socials. I put it on Instagram. I put it on Facebook, X. All of those have the question posed. So go ahead and find whichever social media you prefer, or right here on YouTube, and comment your answer to the question. If an alien were to tell you, or were to ask you to take it to your leader, who is the leader at which you take that alien to? Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Once again, go like, follow, share, and subscribe on all of the socials. Let's build the crowd as much as we possibly can and keep it going, keep the momentum going. I've very much so been enjoying this, and it was actually really sad last week to not be able to put out an episode. Just again, life being crazy and working again 22 straight days, and there's really no end in sight currently. So we will keep trucking away. But as always, thank you so very much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week right here on the Unpodcast Network, where every episode is the main event. I'll be seeing you guys later. Have a great day.